Admin Camp. Here are your friends who are going to be helping you today and their favorite form tools. Heather Eckert will be posting links for you in the chat and opening our polls, and her favorite feature is the masked Likert scale. And Janae Teal, the grand poobah of Apricot, will be answering all your brilliant questions in the chat. Helen Hammer, who is the master behind the curtain, will be recording the session for you, and her favorite feature is the HTML label. Well, I forgot to mention that Janae loves highlighting fields in forms. And then I am Sarah Campbell, and I will be telling you about forms today. My favorite feature is form logic. Who's here? Please update your name to include your organization. And right now, let's do a little warm up by putting what one of your favorite things is about Apricot. Janae, would you like to note what you're seeing, what people are posting?
Yeah, I was also participating.
Oh.
So we've got wizard links. Wait, totally agree. Report data visualization, links we can text to our clients, dashboards, wizard links, connect forms, reports. Haven't used Apricot, but very excited.
That's good too.
The simplicity. Oh, thank you for saying that. Speaking correctly,
bless you.
Heart. Form logic, the dashboard. Yep, these are all reports. Yes. I can't keep up.
Yay to the person who said form logic. Yes.
Yes. Dashboards all the way. Awesome. You love a lot of the same things that we love.
Yes. And now we've got another little warm up. This time, that's going to be close to the topic we'll be discussing today. Heather, would you please post our first poll? And please answer the poll now, and Heather will share the results with you. Question is, what is a tier 2 form? Oh, you guys are smart. Oh, these numbers are going really well.
It looks like most people have had an opportunity to vote.
Okay. Heather, and the winner is?
The winner is a form that collects more data on the subject of the tier 1.
Correct. Hooray. You guys are winners in this. Thank you very much. Just a note, please mute yourself in case the dogs bark or your neighbors are remodeling. If you have any questions, please use the chat, post it, and Janae will answer them for you. We probably won't have any Q&A time, so that's the way to ask your questions. If you have more questions, please come to our office hours, May 3 and May 5. You can ask any question about anything about Apricot, and questions about what you learned today, questions about the homework that you did. So thanks, let's do that. Homework 1 results. Here are the results of this beautiful apricot that Janae created. Janae, would you like to tell us about it?
Yes, I would love to tell you about it. So almost all of you did the last homework, which I super appreciate. We had so much fun going through your responses. So for those of you who didn't have the homework or didn't do the homework, the question was, what is one thing you are excited about to learn in Apricot Admin Camp? And so we thought as a team, what's a good way to show you the results? And I personally love word clouds. So this is a kind of a play on a word cloud. And for those of you unfamiliar with word clouds, the bigger the word, the higher the frequency. So a lot of you mentioned data, reports, forms, outcomes. I just think this is like the cutest thing ever because it pulls in so many things that you had mentioned, like BSK, call out in the little tiny leaf. I love that you want to talk about users, but I also loved that you had mentioned staff and community and, you know, things that are also important to us as part of Apricot. So here are your results, and thank you so much for participating. It was really fun to see all of your excitement.
Yes, thank you, Janae. That really is so fun to see it like this too. Okay, today we'll be using our example organization in Apricot, which we're calling Stronger Together. And the mission of Stronger Together is to provide girls with opportunities for STEM education and professional pathways. STEM, if you're not familiar with it, is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And traditionally, it's been a male-dominated field, but that is changing, and Stronger Together is working to keep that number going up for women. The program is called Girl Up, and that provides STEM mentorship and tutoring, after-school classes, education support, and goal tracking. And the mentors are professional women who work in the STEM fields. Today we'll be talking about what a form is and what it does, Tier 1 and Tier 2 forms, how to edit a form, how to create a new form, form logic, and the importance and how to test every new and edited form. Forms are trying to describe forms are like trying to summarize the dictionary because it's just so rich in features and the possibilities of what it can do. So this is just an introduction. Forms are the foundation of Apricot. All data is entered into the database using forms. Everything else is built from the data that is collected in forms. The path of data in Apricot goes like this. Data is entered into fields in a form. And that data can be saved as a record. And then you use the data from records to build reports. Oops, we're going to go back. And then from reports, you can create bulletins, also known as dashboards, and data visualizations. What's next? Oh, that's where I escaped. That comes later. All right. Now we'll go to Apricot and begin. So here's our Stronger Together database. Right now, if you look up at the top, you can see that my Apricot is green. So we're in the front end.
We cannot see it.
Oh, we can't see it because I haven't, let's see.
It's a beautiful white screen, but.
Share screen. There we go. Now can you see it? Excellent. So as I was saying, this is our Stronger Together database. And you'll see that the My Apricot tab is green, which means we're in the front end where anyone who has a login can use this. I wanted to show you a special feature that's in both the front end and the back end. As I was saying, Forms has a lot you can learn. And so there's a great resource. It's like Google for Apricot. If you scroll down to the bottom of the menu on the left, you click Help Center. And then you click Login using Apricot, click the Apricot button. And here you are in the Help Center. Here is Google for Apricot. You click Knowledge Base, and you can search on any topic you want to look for. So here we see what's in a form, how to add images to a form, building forms and field properties. So I highly encourage you to use Apricot for Google, also known as Knowledge Base. Now we're back to Apricot itself. Let's take a look at a form in the front end. We'll look at the client intake profile. Let's see, I'll scroll back to the top. And I'm going to open the search records field or the search records command in the menu on the left. And when you click the down arrow, you can see all of the Tier 1 forms that are searchable. we're going to click Client Intake Profile. And here's the Client Intake Profile search. Right now, we're going to click and look at a new Client Intake Profile. It's brand spanking new, it's empty, it's ready to enter data. So let's talk about the parts of a form. At the top, you can see it says Client Intake Profile, that's the form name. And then there's a dark gray bar underneath it called Contact Information. This is the section name. The dark gray bars show a section, and forms can have more than one section. Each section has a set of fields where you can enter information that are related to what the title of the name of the section is. Down below, so this is contact information. You can see this is all about contact information, except for intake date. That's an important part to know about our clients. And then below are the demographic fields that you can fill out. So that is that subject. Okay. So that is that section, demographics. So we have two sections, demographics and contact information in this form. Over on the right, you see what are called palettes or palettes if you're French or English. There's the record options palette, which after you've entered data, you can click Save Record. And that will save all the data into a record, where you can go back and open it up and edit it or pull that data into a report. And Heather will be teaching you about reports at our next session. You can also, once you've saved the record, click New Client Intake, and it'll take you to a brand new client intake form where you can fill it out. Or you can go to Search, which will take us back to the Search Client Intake search window that we saw before. Below this is the Record Save checklist. And it has a list of all of the fields that are required to be filled out before you can save the record. And as you begin to fill these out, you'll see these disappear. And once they've all been completed, you'll get a nice green check and you know you can save it. All right. Now, what people with permission can do with a form in my Apricot view. They can see forms. They can enter data into fields in the form. They can save data that they entered as a record. And they can see form document folders, which we'll talk about in a bit. What users cannot do with a form in my Apricot view or the front end. Change a form's name, the fields it has, or any of its settings. To do these things, you need to be an administrator or a super user who has administrator permissions to edit or create forms in administrator view. Now let's talk about tier 1 and tier 2 forms. There are two basic types of forms, and I'm so proud that you guys know all this already, but I'm sharing for those who don't know. Tier 1 forms have fields that collect basic information on a client or a program that's unlikely to change very often. They are the parent form to tier 2 forms. And if we look, you can see in this client intake profile, it's just basic information about the client's name, their cell phone, their demographics. Those are unlikely to change very often. In the My Apricot menu, when you click Search Records, as I already showed you, you can see each of the tier 1 forms that are searchable. A tier 1 form also acts as a document folder. It's like the manila folders you use in a paper file that holds all the tier 2 records that are connected to the tier 1 form. So let's look at a completed tier 1 client intake profile record in Apricot. So I'm going to click to go back to the search. Here we go. So this is the list. And at the top, we have an option to add a search field. I'm going to add client name because I want to find client Emma Cook. Oops, can't spell. Now we put Emma in. And if you notice, when I chose client name as a search field, that turned all of the client name fields green. That because they are a link now. So let's take a look what happens when we click that green link. You go straight to her completed client intake profile. So that's a direct link if you want to see the intake profile. And I'm going to go back to folder by clicking view folder. And here we can see Emma's document folder. Now there's another way you can access her client intake profile, and that is, you can see her name here, Emma Cook, and then there's a button called Edit at the top. If you click Edit, you will go back to her client intake profile. That's how you access it. I'm going to go back to the folder. And underneath the line, all documents, are the list of the tier 2 records that apply to every client intake profile at Stronger Together. Case notes, program enrollment, class attendance, individual service plan, services, and upload file. All of these provide additional information about Emma. So that's why they're tier 2 forms. They provide that extra information, just as you said in your poll. All right. Now let us go to, let's go back to her client profile. Now, before, when we saw the brand new client profile that didn't have any data entered into it, there were just 3 record options. Now that we have data in the record that has been saved, there are a lot more options. Save record is still there. Print mode is a new one. If you click that, it will open the file and how it will appear if you choose to print it. So that's a handy thing that a lot of people don't notice. Archive record. Only people who have the permission to archive records can do that. But that will make the record no longer visible for people or searchable, but it will still preserve the data. You can view the history. Let's look at this record history at the bottom. And it shows when the last time the record was modified or updated, and that was on the 16th of April by me. And you can hide the history, new client intake, view folder, and go to search. You can also see in assigned programs what programs are allowed to have access to this form. And that would be Girl Up, STEM Mentorship, Youth Development, and Apricot Admin Support, plus 2 more. Okay. And there's one called Favorites, which is hard to see in my view right here. But if you have a client whose intake record you need to access a lot, like with your caseload, all the clients that you are working with personally, you can check this box, and we'll add it to your favorite My Client Intake Records collection. Okay. And now we are going to go back to the document folder. Let's see. Already done all that. Now, to see which of these forms have records already saved in them, you look for the green circle to the left of the form name. So we can see that there are some saved records in program enrollment, and we can see them by clicking the circle, and there they are in the list. Let's take a look at one of them. All we have to do is click the item in the list, and we can see that she was enrolled in the after-school science classes. Go back to the folder. Okay, we can also add a new program enrollment by clicking the dark gray page icon with a plus on it. So add a new record. And this will take us to the empty form where you can fill it out and save the record. Okay. And we can also see that services has a record right below here. If you added a case note or a class attendance record, then you will see that that's green. Now, another nice feature is if you, let's say you have a long list of tier 2s, and there's one that you use all the time, and you don't want to have to scroll through the list of tier 2s to get to it. So you click this little push button, let's say like the case notes, although our list is not long. And when I click that, case notes goes to the top of the list. So you don't have to scroll and find it anymore. Then you click again to move it back. All right. Now we're going to talk about editing and creating forms in Administrator View, also known as the back end. I will click the Administrator tab at the top. So this is something that people who have administrator privileges can do, or permissions. Also, I guess it's the same as a privilege. If you notice over on the left, the menu has changed. There's different options for creating and editing and organizing forms, reports, records, access to forms and defining roles, workflow station, which is how you do bulletins, which are also known as dashboards, and how to create an Apricot Connect form. So right now we are going to go to Form Designer, because that's where you get to create forms. There are 3 options here: standard forms, templates, and lookup lists. Let's look at the templates library. So I will click that. Templates are pre-created forms that the Apricot techs have put in here that other clients have created or that Apricot has created. And you can see a little description of what the form is by clicking the down arrow. And your choices are to preview it if you want to see what it contains, or you can actually use it. And if you click use, it will open the form. And then you can, when you click save form, it will be added to your list of forms. All right, we're not going to do that right now. One catch is that templates often have names and descriptions that don't clearly explain what they're for. So you have to do a lot of digging around, like what is a YHawk? Maybe you guys know, but I don't. So, and another catch is that sometimes the forms, the fields in these forms require an Apricot tech to edit. So for example, the client profile SG form, let's take a look at that one. Oh, now it looks just fine. Never mind. But if the field name is grayed out, you need to go through the chat and ask an Apricot tech to change it if you want to change the name or whatever you want to do about editing it. So today we're going to start with the standard forms. So I'm going to click that under Form Designer. And here you see all the Tier 1 forms that are available in Stronger Together database. Admins will see all of the Tier 1 forms. Super users may only see those that they have permission to see. And underneath each Tier 1 form, if you click the down arrow, are all of the Tier 2s. Now, one of my favorite things about this standard forms library is that these little icons, because you can see the status of the form. I don't know if you can see it. hopefully you can see it better now. There's published, which is like a little green page with an apricot on it saying, yay, it's published, all the features are ready. Then there's a little page icon that says modified, which has a tiny yellow pencil. So that shows it has edits that have not been published and are not available to all the users. And then there's unpublished, which means it's got some sections and fields in it, but those have never been published for use. And finally, you can actually have them show you forms that have been deactivated. So that you can see job placement has been deactivated, and it has a little snore word on it, some Z's, which shows that it's sleeping now. And your administrator will need to reactivate it before you can do anything with it. All right. So right now, oops, let's do this. There we go. No, I don't want to do that. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble here. There's my menu. Okay. Why is it so huge? So I'm going to start a new tier 1 from scratch. Oh, those are the options. I'm sorry, these are the palettes in the standard forms library view. You can create a new tier 1 from scratch, or you can create a tier 1 from a template. And let's see, right, already did that part. Now we're going to open a tier 1 form to see what it looks like in Form Designer view. So let's look at the same client profile that we looked at before. What I did is I scrolled over actions and clicked edit, and that will open the form for me to edit. All right. Then at the top, you can see pretty much the same, except there's all these green gears all over the page. And that is where you can determine the settings for each part of the form. Right to the right of the form name is the form properties settings. When you click the green gear, that will open it, and you can choose whatever the settings are that you need for your form, and that affects the form as a whole. The settings on to the right of the name of a section are all of the section settings, and you can choose those. And each field has its own settings. Some have pretty standard settings, like whether the field is required, quick view, duplicate check, searchable, locked, or hidden. Right now we can see that the field properties are required and searchable. And the display name is intake date. Now, at the very top, the field type is date in the parentheses. So we will just apply that. Now that's pretty standard, but there are some fields that have really special settings. And for example, required subfield, you can customize which address fields appear for a address lookup field type. All right. And on the right, you can see that the palettes are different too. At the top is field choices. And here's where you can get all of the fields to put into your sections to create your form or edit it. There is each of the dark names are a category that has different field types underneath it. So all has everything, in case you're not sure and you can't find it in the other categories. Demographics has everything that applies to demographics, but it also includes things like phone number, address, zip code. And options has a whole bunch, and this is a really frequently used one because it allows people to select an option to answer something. And then text are ways that you can put a field in where the user can type in a text answer. numeric, calculation, date and time, upload a file, there's fields for that, hyperlinks, linking, and special. So there's lots of different categories. And the fields in this field choices are like the paint on a painter's palette. That's how you create a form. Below that are the requirements for being able to publish the form. Right now, all the checks are passed, and there's different publish requirements for tier 1 forms and tier 2 forms. So you'll see different lists depending on what you're working on. For form actions, you can save the form, you can publish the form to other users who have permission to use it. You can go back to the previous version. Let's say you've made a catastrophic mistake and you've broken your form logic. Click previous version to take you back to the version that still worked. And then you can start over. Deactivate form, that makes your form go to sleep. And it means that all the data that's been collected previously is still in Apricot, but it cannot be accessed by reports. So I imagine that Heather Eckert will be telling you a little bit more about that when she talks about reports. We've got a poll popped up. Okay.
Sorry, I guessed wrong.
I'll tell you. It's all right. Okay, it's totally fine. Okay, so let us go. And then form permissions allows you to set who can use this form. Return form list takes you back to the standard forms library. Okay. Now let's look at some of the field properties. If you look at client name, there's a little symbol next to it, which to me, see if I can do this. Yes. Looks like a rabbit that's eating a spider, but what it actually is called a double apricot icon. And that means it's going to be used as a duplicate check. Get it? Double apricot duplicate. And also that means if anyone is entering the same client name into a client intake profile form, Apricot will automatically check and flag it if it's a duplicate. The spider that the bunny is eating means that this field has to be filled in before you can save a record using it. Okay. Now there are some other settings which are important, and let's take a look at intake date. We've got required, because this is what the administrators and the staff have decided really essential to know for every client intake form. It's required and searchable. So you can search on intake date if you want to. And you can set it set for default, which means that for today's date will be the default, but you can edit it if you want to when you're creating a new client intake. Okay. And then let us look at the client name again. This one is checked to be quick view, which means when we're looking in the document record, this is the information that's going to appear at the top of the document folder, not document record, but document folder. Remember we saw Emma Cook's name when we looked at her document folder? That's because client name is the quick view for this tier 1. All right. And moving to the next section, editing an existing form. We're going to make a couple of small changes to this client intake profile. Our clients are students at Stronger Together. And so I'm going to add a field where you can select what the client's school is. And I'm also going to show you a trick for creating an automatic unique client ID number. All right. So first, let's make some room for one of our new fields. You can drag a field anywhere you want. And it can take some shuffling around to get it to all fit right. I'm going to put linked household down here. Then here's the special trick. I'm going to collapse this. We're going to look down in system fields. System fields automatically generate numbers when someone creates a record. And there is a unique number that is applied to every record in Apricot that no other record has. This is the cool thing. You can use that as a client ID, automatically generated by Apricot. So I'm going to take this field and I'm going to drag it up to my client intake form. And there it is. And now, whenever you look into the client intake record, you'll see this ID and it can be used as their client ID. So you don't have to figure out a new client ID numbering system. You can just use this. I also put a note. I just clicked the green gear to look at this. So people know this. This client ID number is auto-calculated by Apricot. And I'm going to uncheck that it's hidden because we want it to show in the form. I'm going to click apply. Oh, I'm also going to click quick view because we want their client ID to show in their document folder and make it searchable. All right. Now, next, I'm going to put in a new type of option field called a drop-down, which makes a drop-down list. I'm going to go to the option category and choose drop-down. And we're going to use this one so that the user can select the school the student goes to. I'm going to click the green gear to set it up the way I want to, and I will put in client's school. And I'm going to make that searchable because that would be really nice to be able to search which clients go to which schools. And now I need to put in the options that they select from. And it would take a really long time to type it. But handily, I have created a lookup list. So I'm going to check use lookup list, which has the list of all the schools. And we will choose the lookup list called Apricotville schools. There it is. And that will go in there and we'll show you what that looks like later. And the nice thing is you're not stuck with that list. You can even edit it right here and that will edit this lookup list all the way across the system, which is really nice. And I will click apply. There's our new field. So now I will publish this form and you can, we will take a look at it go back to the document folder. So let's go back to, it says publish successful, hooray. We'll go to Apricot, My Apricot, search records, client intake profile. And let's go to Emma's client intake profile. There's the school. You can see her record ID is, her client number now is 1642. No one else will have that number. And the client school, we can choose from the lookup list that we already created. And she attends Lincoln Elementary. And then we click Save Record. So that's how our two new forms, that's how you can edit. Those are ways to edit a form. Note, to help users fill out a form correctly, give each field a name that shows exactly what information they need to enter so they don't enter the wrong thing, particularly in text fields where they can enter whatever they want. And put the fields in an order that fits the workflow of the user, the person is filling out the form, and organizes the fields so the information is easy to find. So that's why all of the contact information is in this section and the demographics are in this section. That's a nice, clear organization. And if you can organize the fields so it looks nice, that's good too, but it's not essential. All right. And if we go down to, let's see, that's fine. So we're all set. Now, Heather, please launch poll 3. Okay, everyone, please take the poll. When you publish a form, what happens? Oh, we've got some sharp people here. You guys are aces. All right. Okay. Heather, you want to share our results?
Sure. Well done, everyone. The correct. When you publish a form, both A and B, A, all the changes you made to the form are saved, and B, the form changes become visible to users. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. You guys rock. Okay. And if you chose A or B, those are right too. It's just that D was more right. Okay. So caution when editing previously published forms. This is so important. Let's say you've got a form that's been in use for a year, or even for a month, or maybe for a week, and people have already been entering data into it. And now the team has decided, well, we don't really need this field anymore. We're not going to enter any new data into it. And so why don't you just delete it or deactivate it? Don't do that. That is a big no-no. Why? Because then the data is not available to any reports that were created using that field. So we encourage you to not do that. Instead, hide it so people can't see it, and then drag it down to the bottom of a section so it won't be in the way. And then I encourage you to add a label from the special field that tells people this field is no longer in use, but it contains data from 2020. Please don't delete so we don't lose this data. And then you can hide that label also. And so only administrators and super users who open it in a Form Designer view will see the hidden field that's no longer in use and the label. So that's what I would suggest to do instead. Secondly, another big caution, don't change a field like the options in a drop-down list or a checkbox list after a report is built that uses it, because it's going to break the report. And any bulletins or dashboards or data visualizations that were based on that field, also broken. So don't do that. In the quick guide that will be emailed to you after the class, you will see some common mistakes that happen and how to fix them and how to avoid them. And these things are both included in that. Now we're going to create a new form from scratch. Let's create a new tier 2 form under the client intake profile, tier 1. So we will go to administrator view, form designer, standard forms. And here under actions for the tier 1, choose new tier 2 from scratch. That's how you create a tier 2. Here's our brand new form. And we're going to design a form that will collect information about STEM projects that our clients are doing. People who want to go into STEM fields in college often participate in high school in STEM project contests. And this allows students to practice doing research and also presenting their research. In addition, it gives them a chance to put that on their resume when they apply to colleges. And sometimes you can even win scholarships. So this is a really great thing to do. And it's great to have mentors, professional mentors, show you how to do that. So to start, we are going to name this High School Student STEM Research Project. Since I can't type and while people are watching, I'm going to paste that in and click apply. Oh, it may be inactive. That's okay. All right. Next, I am going to add the fields. Okay. So I'm going to name the first section, which is called Project Overview. Oh, that is going to keep coming up. Janae, do you have any suggestions for this?
Yes, it's not a sophisticated method, so bear with me. What that means is that there's a form in the system that has that same name, and Apricot.
I can change it slightly, right? I can change the name.
Yeah, I would just change it to
STEM project.
Yeah, there you go. Something that's unique.
All right, hooray. Thank you very much. Okay, project overview section. And the first thing I'm going to put in is a text field, single line text. So I just choose that text field and drag it over to the section. And that's one of the coolest things about Apricot. Whoever saw a database being made like this, I just drag a field over there. What the heck? That is so cool. If you've worked in other databases, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we'll open this text field so users can type in the name of the project. And we will make this project title, and we will make it required so that every STEM project record will have this data. And we'll make it quick view so the information in this field shows in the document folder. And we will apply. Now you can see the spider is just to the right of project title, so that shows it's a required field. Now we're going to add one called project completion date. So we will choose from date and time, add date right there. Change the display name. Make it required and quick view. Then we'll add the project purpose. This one they get to choose from whether it's a practice project or an actual project for a contest entry. So we'll go to the option field and choose radio button, because that allows users who are filling it out to just choose one choice. And we will make that required and quick view. And we'll put in the information, which is practice project. Or these are the choices, contest entry. And click Save Options. And then we're going to name it Project. See, I told you I couldn't type. Project Purpose. Apply. Okay, so now we've got our radio button and a brief project description. And I'll show you a nice tip on how to help ensure data quality. For the project description, I am going to put a text field, but I'll use multi-line text so someone can enter a paragraph if they need to. We are going to make this brief project description. And we will not make that required or quick view. And in the notes, you can type in what you want people to enter. So that gives them a tip right there And that helps assure that they're going to put the right information. Not always, but it usually does. So I'm going to delete the word notes and just paste in include hypothesis, research methods and results, and conclusions, and click apply. Now you can see there's this grayed out text. And when the user wants to enter the information in it, that grayed out text will disappear. So it's a really neat way to help ensure data quality. Mentor evaluation. And this is only for if it's a practice project. So I will choose a Likert text. And that is, oh, where is Likert again, Heather? Is that option? Yeah, all right, thank you. Likert scale, great. And here's how you can do evaluations. So for this, we'll put mentor. Oh gosh. Yes, I really am a real person. And the field choices are going to be learning. This is going to be the evaluation scale. Met requirements. Exceeded requirements. And contest level work. So that means that this is ideal for a contest. We will save those options. And now look, there's a new column that appears. You can give each of these choices a value. And by doing that in a report, you can see what the average rating was for practice projects and how many students exceeded requirements. So there's all kinds of great things you can do with this information. So I'm going to give this a numeric value, and then we will click apply. Now we can see our Likert scale, and the user just clicks what they want. And finally, we will add a text field for multi-line text. They write in, what skills did student gain? What skills did? All right, and apply. Oh wait, I just got a phone call and I can't finish my report before I publish it. Dang, what am I going to do? I know, I'll click save. And that way, if I accidentally have to go do some other work and I leave my report or my form, I can go back and edit it. Okay, tick tock, tick tock. Finally got off of the phone with grandma. So now we're going to finish our form. Okay. Now save saves it, but doesn't publish it. So that's the nice thing. So you can go back and edit it without embarrassing yourself by publishing it early. Now we're going to add a new section. Here's how you do that. Right below the field choices, you click add section. I don't know why, but it goes all the way to the bottom. So you drag it back up here and we'll name the new section contest information. And we'll click apply. And we're going to add just 4 fields to that. The contest name, which will just be a single line text. Okay. The presentation date, which is a date field. When you talk about this demonstration later, you can talk about how annoying I was in my typing. Comments, which will be a multi-line text. Mentor comments. And contest outcomes. This time we want to give the people who are filling out an option where they can choose more than one answer. And so for this reason, we will use a checkbox. So I will drag that in under the options category and put contest outcomes. All right. Then for bulk entry, I'm just going to save you all your nerves and copy and paste that text right in there and click Save Options. There they are. And now we click Apply. All right. So now let's look at our published requirements checklist. It says we need a record name. So what is the record name is going to be how you search for the record. So now that we have entered all our fields, we can choose which field will be the record name. And for this, under record name, I will choose project title and apply. And now look at our published requirements checklist. We've got a green check and we can publish our tier 2 form. I clicked publish and then I confirm that I really, really want to do that. Publish successful, hooray. So let's go back to my Apricot and see what it looks like. But I want to make sure that it looks right to the person who's actually going to use it. So I'm going to go back to administrator view. And then over here at the top, if you're an administrator, you can turn magically into somebody else by choosing their name. And one of the mentors for our Stronger Together program is Audrey Royston. So I'm going to choose her because she's the one who needs to fill out this project information. So now I go back to my Apricot and search records. Whoa, she doesn't have permission for that. So I won't do that. I didn't quite get this ready. I apologize. So I will look as me. Nice try, Sal. So we go to my Apricot once again, we go to search records, but that is the best practice. When you actually have your database set up so all the roles are seeing all the forms they need to see, that's the way to do it, because you want to make sure the people using the form can see it and that everything in it is working. That's absolutely essential, because I know I find mistakes just like I did just now, so it's super helpful to find your errors before someone starts filling it out. So right after you edit a form and publish it, right after you create a new form and publish it, test it as a person who's going to fill it out. Okay, we'll go to search record, client intake profile. We'll go back to Emma's document folder. Oops, that goes to her client profile. From this view, you can go to the document folder by clicking the gray text. And if that's hard to remember, it tells you right below here. So you click the gray text to go to her document folder. And look, there's high school student STEM project. 0 records. Let's add one. See what it looks like. So we're going to click the new little add a record icon. There it is. And it shows Emma's name at the top, which is part of the quick view information. And we can type in the title, and that is Nuclear Fission with Potato Scraps. And we'll have the project completion date as today. This is going to be, oh, you know what? I just realized that this is a contest. If this was a practice project, I've got all of this section down here that doesn't apply to that because it's just about a contest project. I could go back to our form and make that contest information section only appear if the mentor checks contest entry. So let's go back and do that. Go back to administrator view. And now we're going to use the magic of form logic, my favorite feature. Okay, go back to standard forms and go to our high school STEM project and edit it. Now, one of the reasons why I'm doing it now is you have to publish the form before you can add form logic. So that's a good thing to remember. So we know one of the first things we need to do is enable form logic for the form. So we'll go to the form properties for the whole form and click enable form logic and apply. All right. And then we want to hide the contest information section until the mentor filling out the form clicks contest entry. So in here, I'm going to click hidden. Now you can see the green gear turned gray. That's to show you that this is a hidden section. You can also make fields hidden and use them in form logic too. At the very bottom now, because we enabled form logic, we've got form rules. So let's add a new rule. And this is called contest project rule. That's so you remember what this rule is called, right? We'll click apply. Form logic uses if-then statements. Let's click the down arrow. The if this condition is met, then actions are the then, this action will happen. So let us go to the conditions for the contest rule. You have a choice of working with a field value or a parent field value. We're going to choose a field value if project purpose, and I like to use matches any of because it shows you all the options. So you make sure that they're exact. If the project purpose matches contest entry, okay, that's our if statement. Then I will choose the action to be on a section, unhide this section, contest information, apply. Now there's some other actions you can use here too. You can expand it, you can scroll to, you can require all fields within or lock all fields within. And then for fields, you can highlight, that's a new one, or you can lock it. Highlights Janae's favorite feature. So if you want to know more about highlight, talk to her. It's a way to encourage people to fill out fields without making them required. But we are going to go back to section and we're going to choose unhide contest information section and click apply. And then we will publish the form. Confirm. Let's go back to the front end and see what this looks like in real life now with our cool form logic. Go to Emma's document folder, high school STEM project. Let's create a new one. Project title, nuclear fission of data scraps, completion date, and project purpose. Okay, get ready. Contest entry. Whoa! The contest information section just opened and now I can fill it out. Isn't that awesome? Another nice thing about using form logic, especially if you have a long form with a lot of sections, which can make users feel overwhelmed. This way you can just show the sections or just show the fields that really apply to their situation based on what they check in or add for the information. So that's something I've used it for. It's also just plain cool, all right? So I am going to say that what schools does student gain ability to be a nuclear physicist? And we're going to contest name, National Science Foundation. And she was selected for the next level of the contest. Presentation date was in May. And right, awesome. Save record. Go back to folder. And we'll click and see that each of the items, each of the fields that we marked as quick view now appear in the line for the name of the, or the information on the record. So that's why you would use something for quick view. All right. So we're done that. Okay. Now another thing you can do for the form, we'll just go right back there, is set the permissions, which I should have done before, but I'm doing them now. So we'll go back to standard forms, go back to our STEM project form. And that's why you test as the person who's going to fill it out, because that's when you find out they don't have permission. So I'm going to click under form actions, form permissions. Wait a minute, it says it's locked. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we want mentors to fill this out. So we will click that they can view it, they can search it, they can create a new record, they can edit a record, they can save it in their caseloads, and they can edit the form if you want to give them that ability, but I don't think we want to. So we'll just save that. And now our mentors have access to enter new records using this form and go back and edit them if they want to. All right. Heather, would you please launch poll 4? Okay, dive in, answer the poll.
The best way to test a new or edited form is?
Excellent.
I think this one must be a little bit trickier. The responses are a little bit slower.
But the scores are pretty right on. You can't fool this crowd. They're doing great. And the results are?
The best way to test a new or edited form is, in my Apricot view, the front end from a user's persona.
Correct. So when you test it, you go to administrator, choose the person who's supposed to fill it out and make sure they can see it, create a record, save it, and that everything that's supposed to be in there is in there and actually works. That is really important. Okay.
Sarah, would you mind showing that to show how you can be Audrey again and it wasn't visible before?
Oh, it wasn't?
When you view as Audrey now.
Okay. Well, it still probably won't be because she doesn't have access to the client profile. But let me go to the client profile.
I think she might.
You think so? Okay, let's see. Let's just see. Okay, Audrey, what can you see? Search records. It says class profile.
I lied.
But it was worth a try, right? It was so worth a try. So I think if we give her permission to see the client profile, then we'll be set. So we'll go back to being myself. Okay, and then we will go to administrator and form designer standard forms. And we will go in here and we will give form permissions in the form actions. And look, they don't have permission to create or edit, although it says they have permission to search. So let's see what happens here. You can do it, Apricot. Apricot's taking a nap.
Apricot does not like being in between the new way and the old way, which is really what's happening right now.
Yes, as you all know, they are implementing all these new features for the brand new Apricot. And so that's making some things get a little sticky. But if you were going to give Audrey permission, this would be how you do it, because her role is a volunteer STEM mentor. So we won't show that part. Cancel. But we will show what happens in our new record that we just created with the STEM projects. Okay. Now, remember we talked about, oops, going to her document folder. Let's go look at our new record. We talked about system fields and how they're automatically created by Apricot. Now we can look in there and see what they say. The record ID is 2907. This is the last time it was edited, the person who edited it, the first time it was saved as a record, and who created it when they first saved it as a record. So there is all your information that you see in system fields. So if you're wondering what that's for, that's what that section is for. And it also provides information to you, these system fields in Form Designer. So if you go to the Standard Forms library, and you click the down arrow, you can see that the client intake profile was last modified, who did it. So that way, if you see that a really important form has some changes, like they show that it's modified, like household does down here. I mean, somebody went in there and edited it and you want to know who it was. Let's see who it was. It was me, and I didn't publish my changes. So I need to go back and do that. Actually, I use that all the time because I made some changes and I forgot to publish, and this shows me that I do that. So that's why that's super handy. Okay, that ends our demonstration in Apricot. Let's go back to our wonderful slides. So we will stop share and go back to slides. And all right. Now oh, we want to go past you. Okay, we're going past this. All right, what's next? Thanks for sitting in on this class and being patient with my typing and navigating, but you know, that's real life and you're gonna do it too. Please take our session evaluation. Heather will provide the link in the chat. It really helps us to know what was useful for you, what you learned, what you think you're going to use, what you would like us to do differently next time. So please fill out that evaluation. We really do use them.
Sarah, will you share your screen?
Oh, I didn't do that? Sure, thanks.
That's okay.
I need to find the share. Hold on a second. Share. All right. How's that? Okay. So there's a lot about forms, and you may have some questions after you have done your homework, or you may have a form you're working on right now in your Apricot database at your organization. Come on in, ask questions. You can ask any Apricot question in office hours. They will be May 3rd and 5th. So you can sign up for that in the portal. And Heather will provide a link to the portal in the chat. I will also send an email after the class that will have the quick guide with information, more information about forms and about how to fix problems with forms. And that email will contain a link to the portal as well. So you can easily go in, sign up for office hours, and complete your homework. The homework is to create a simple form. So this is for people who have admin permissions and people who are super users who have some admin permissions to create forms. I'd like you to create a new tier 2 from scratch. You get to make up the purpose and what needs to go in it. Have 2 sections, each with a different category of data that fits the purpose of your form. 4 fields in each section, that's minimum, and use at least 6 different kinds of fields. And I challenge you to use some that you've never used before. Then publish the form, and take a screenshot of it. And that is how you will turn in your homework, is to upload a screenshot of your form. And the nice thing is that Heather has set this up so nicely in our portal by providing a link to instructions on how to do a screenshot if you don't know. So for both Mac and PC. So that's really awesome. Thank you, Heather. I've already mentioned that. So there will be information in the quick guide to email you with links to great short articles and knowledge base and videos. That none of them are encyclopedias. They're just nice short things where you get just the information you need, which is super helpful. And the videos are brief, like 2 minutes or 1 minute. And it also has information on the common mistakes people make in forms and how to fix them and avoid them. Here's what it looks like when you log into our portal, and you can click homework 2 to make your turn in your form or sign up for office hours. We really encourage you to do that. And if you haven't done homework 1, dive in. You can still do that too. So we have reached the end of our session today. We encourage you to please take our post-session evaluation if you haven't done it yet. Before you sign off, please do that.